the window, it was a really frenetic final few hours in the end. How pleased are you to get the signing of Josh Maja over the line? And what were the last few hours like for you? Because it seemed to be quite intense.
Yeah, well, look, I think firstly, like all deadline days, they do bring a little bit of drama. And certainly, look, very pleased with the signing of Josh. I think he probably falls into the line of the sort of business we've done this year in terms of young talent, big potential, someone we can develop, very good finisher. And I think it was clear that obviously we need to try and strengthen in that area. We've got Alex in our squad, but other than that, really, he's our only real recognised centre forward. So yeah, firstly, I'm very pleased with that. I hope Josh comes in and we can really push him on, and scored a lot of goals at Sunderland. And so yeah, that's the main thing. And look, we tried to do some other bits. I think Josh King was that one, and that was getting documented. We tried and we pushed, but obviously competing with Everton was a challenge, and he decided to go there. I understand.
How frustrating is it to miss out on Joshua King, a player who's obviously got quality in the Premier League? And at one stage, it genuinely looked like he was going to choose Fulham. It looked like it was going to happen for you. But it was, I think, about 10 o'clock at night that he decided to go to Everton. Just talk us through the kind of emotional rollercoaster attached to potentially getting Joshua King.
Not really emotional, because I think we realised the way the transfers work, really. So we were trying for both players. We've got one, and we've got a squad here now, which I'm more than happy with. So of course, like I said, the last day often brings some different things up. But I think I've realised now, I think that's my fourth transfer window, and I realised that there's a lot of back and forth, bit of disappointment, bit of not. And, I think until it's closed, really. And there's an element which I like once it's closed, because for 4 weeks now you have the uncertainty, you have players in your squad, are they going to be here, are they not? You're trying to push things as well. So we know where we are now, and we'll now push on.
Let's look on to the game now. It's going to be a huge match against a really exciting Leicester side. You yourselves, you've drawn 7 of your last 9 Premier League games, which shows that you're hard to beat. In terms of that, how do you transform that into 3 points and wins? Because you're clearly doing something wrong.
Yeah, I think that's the next step for us, and it's something which we need to change, and we've changed a lot of things. And I think that's evident in your numbers there in terms of being hard to beat. But our next challenge, my next challenge, and this team's next challenge is to turn them draws into wins, and that's what we've got to do. Ultimately, this is about winning. That's what we, every time we go out there, whoever we're playing, we want to try and win football matches, and we're giving ourselves a real chance. And the fine margins of what they have been over the last few weeks have been really, really fine. Dominated in a lot of games, had some big chances in games as well to win them, and we've not been on that side of it, really. So look, we'll keep working that, and we'll keep pushing. I certainly realise that's where we need to get to, and that's what we need to start doing, and we'll endeavour to keep working as hard as we can to change that.
How impressed have you been with Brendan Rodgers and what he's achieved at Leicester? He seems to have broken the top 6 kind of mould. And how do you set up a team against a Leicester side that are so comfortable on the ball and have so many players that can hurt you?
Yeah, look, Brendan is someone I have huge respect for, really, in terms of his managerial career. And you look at it from where he started out, disappointment of at times not probably going in places, getting a sack, and then building like he did, and like he is now, like you say, one of the top managers in this division and in Europe, really. So his teams are always well organised. There are teams that are positionally a very good team. So again, look, I think as always we put in a very good display against Leicester in the game at their place. But I understand the threat they pose. They have some huge quality. A very good manager who obviously tactically can look at things as well. So myself, my staff, and our players, we need to be well on board and try our hardest to try and nullify that, really.
And finally, from me, the FA's head of medicine is formulating a new set of guidelines and restrictions with regards to heading in training, which has obviously been a big topic of debate over the course of the last few weeks and months. Is that something you welcome, and is that something perhaps that you're conscious of as a manager, about the sort of amount of heading that your defenders are doing in training sessions?
That's a difficult one, to be honest with you. It's a difficult one. It's a major part of what we do in the sport and defending and our game. And so yeah, that's a real hard one. I understand the protocols in place for certain concussion issues, and I get that. And I definitely think it's something with ongoing research we do need to look into, stopping defenders heading the ball or training that technique. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think I'd like to see a lot more evidence to prove that that is the case. And then in saying that, I played football for 20 years and it was a huge part of my life. And, and yeah, I understand that where we are with things, but certainly, regarding it, like I said, I think it's probably something you'd want to see a lot more research into. And I know we are doing that. I've seen some of the documentaries regarding it. So I think, yeah, once that is the case and it's proven, then of course it's something we should look into.
All the best, Scott. Thank you.
Cheers, Mark. Thank you, mate.
Thanks, Mark. We move on to PLP. Anne-Marie, please.
Hi, Scott. How's it going?
All good, Anne-Marie, yeah.
Excellent stuff. Fulham last played, of course, West Brom only about 2-3 days ago. How's the training sessions been since then?
Yeah, we've been all good, Anne-Marie. Training at the moment is you're constantly recovering. There's not a lot of time to really put in intensive training sessions, because before you know it, you're back around for another game. So you're constantly doing that with tactical work, preparing. Once one game goes, you cross that off, you're getting into the next one in 2 or 3 days. So you're preparing constantly again. So that's where we are at the moment, because that's how the schedule is. So yeah, that's exactly it, really.
You talked earlier about you understand the threat that Leicester can pose, but what about Fulham? Where can they cause trouble for Leicester?
Well, I think we see that last time we played them. I think in terms of that result, really, it was a team from our point, which dynamic team that caused Leicester some problems on the night in terms of some breakaway goals, good energy about us. So yeah, look, I have no doubt, and I think over the course of the last 11 games, I think any team playing us at this present moment in time realise the challenges they're going to face, and realise they're playing against a team in us what are more than competent, really. So yeah, I'm sure Brendan will have that in the back of his mind.
Your team do have players that are able to hold up the ball, that can create those opportunities. You've spoken before about it's just taking those opportunities in the final third. But how important is it that Fulham keep Leicester on their toes?
Very important, yeah. This is a big game for us, like it is for Leicester as well. Leicester coming out of a bad result, their last game against Leeds. So, we need to be aware of that. But of course, look, we're going into this game wanting to leave a stamp and leave a mark on the game from our side as well. And I feel like we can do that. Playing against an extremely well-organised, very, very good Leicester side who are going to be challenging right up there this year with the right end of the table. But again, I'd like to think that we can put an imprint on them as well.
And finally, for me, just on your new loanee, Josh Maga, how long do you think he will need before he can get his opportunity in the Premier League?
It's a good question, and it's not one I could probably answer. Josh is not here at the moment. He comes in today. He's not played over the last course of the last 3 or 4 games. So certainly in that sense, physically, we need to see where he is. Adaptability-wise, Josh was here as a young boy. He's played in English football, so I don't see that as an issue. Probably more just where he is physically in that side. So we'll have to judge that when we see him more.
Thanks, Scott.
Cheers, Emma. Thank you.
Thanks, Anne-Marie. We finish off the broadcast section with Emma, BBC London.
Hello, Scott.
Hey, Emma.
It wasn't a good weekend for you, was it, in terms of results?
Yeah, look, if you're focusing on that and you're looking at that, probably not. No, I think that's fair to say. again, Emma, look, I can't control what Brighton, what Burnley, what all these teams do, and every weekend would be probably an emotional roller coaster for me. And in that sense, you'd be up 1 minute, down the next, up 1 minute. I don't know whether I'd have much of a life, to be quite honest with you. So, I mean, and while saying that, also I can't control it. What we can control is what we can do. And you know, we're halfway through a season which is a crazy season, and there's 18 games left to play. And my main focus and sole focus is us, and us winning football matches, and us trying to do everything we can to win them, really. So if Burnley carry on winning, or Brighton, or Newcastle, or wherever the other teams are above us or around us, West Brom, yeah, it's at this moment in time, it's not something I'm focusing on. I want us to win football matches, and if we do that, then that's what matters, really.
Bobby Decordova-Reid has talked about the need to be more ruthless. I'm wondering if you need to start taking those risks, maybe be a little less cautious in order to get the wins you need.
I certainly don't think it's less cautious. I think you look at the numbers, you go and look at the numbers in terms of what we're producing. This is not a team that are producing minimal amounts of shots on goal every game, minimal amount of attempts on goal, not getting in the right areas of the pitch. So certainly, I don't believe it's being less cautious. I think we've come up with something here and worked tirelessly to be more solid. But if there's one thing we've not become, is we've not become a team that's just holding on for a set play or a one-off chance to nick a game 1-0. And I think that's been very evident in the games we've played. You know, West Brom on another day, being very honest, it should be 3-0 at half-time, 4-0 chances, massive chances. And that's probably happened. Of course, there's been certain games, but that's not been the case. We've come out 11 games where we've probably played 7 of the best teams in the league. And when you're us, you know, you are going to be limited to possession and limited to chances. But even in them games, we still have a good fair share of them. So, look, I think it's clear that we do need to be ruthless and we need to be clinical in the moments. And like I said, we are working on that. And we need to be the right side of it.
It worked against Leicester, as you say, at the King Power. Does that give you hope playing them again, even with your current league positions?
Yeah, look, I think we realise it will be a tough game. They're a very, very good team, a team with huge amount of quality, a very good manager. So I think we understand where we are in this fixture in terms of what people would expect to happen. But like we've shown, I think over the last few months, we're more than can be. We can compete with these teams. So yeah, I don't think that's going to be any different come tomorrow night.
They're missing Jamie Vardy. Would that work in your favour?
I think Jamie Vardy's an excellent football player. He's a massive part of what Leicester do. He's got a lot of goals. So of course, you know, Leicester team without him is probably more beneficial to us. In saying that, they do have big quality. Perez played up their last game against Leeds, a big signing for them. Very, very good player. Nacho, they have possibility of bringing him in as well. He's a very good player. So, you know, they do miss an excellent forward in Jamie Vardy, but they have players who can equally cover.
You've let a few players leave the club on loan. Admittedly, they were fringe players. I'm thinking of Kamara and Neeskens-Gabano, but they might have scored you some goals. Can you explain the thinking behind letting them go out on loan?
They've just not played a lot of football at the moment. And, well, yeah, that's the main thing. And there comes a point where you have a squad and you try and manage a squad, players maybe not fully content with not playing football, and be fair to them. I can't. These players we're talking about here, I can't offer them guaranteed football. And the best thing for them and the best thing for the squad and the dynamics of the squad at this moment in time is for them players to go and get some football and go and play. And that's that was the most important thing in them decisions, really.
But with Josh Madger, it sounds as if he's not a player who can come straight into your team and get the goals that you need instantly?
Why?
Oh, I don't know. Sorry, I thought you were suggesting that maybe he would take a little bit of time to get used to playing in the Premier League.
No. I was just they asked me the question about Josh, and I just said I've not seen him at the moment, and he may come in tomorrow morning. Or he's meant to be in today, and physically where he is something we'll have to work out and see. I brought Josh to the football club because he's someone who I see with big potential. He's someone who I see that we can develop. When you look at the transfer work we've done this season in Andy Robinson, Tosin, Harrison Reed, Ademola Lookman, even Ruben Loftus-Cheek. These are young, exciting players that need developing, need time, need improving, not had a lot of football, and the challenge is the next level of the Premier League. And all these players have done fantastically well, and I feel that Josh fits into that bracket as well. So of course there is a slight risk there because he's not been in and around the Premier League, but not a lot of these players who I've mentioned who we signed in the summer and done some very good business did as well. So yeah, that's exactly where I see it at the moment with that.
Thank you, Scott. We'll look